Assalamu alaikum and welcome to Perspective. We'll be talking about of course, the situation in Gaza. We'll be talking about the brutality at this time right before us as it continues day in and day out. Of course, the role of the media in this regard, we've seen the Western mainstream media and its role in providing what can only be termed as biased content, which has later been rebutted by social media. We'll be talking about the role of mainstream media, the responsibility it has in ensuring that accurate information goes forward, particularly in cases such as, of course, the conflict that we are looking at, in the kind of brutality we are looking at, the kind of massive inhumane treatment of civilians we are looking at as far as Palestine is concerned. We'll particularly be talking about this, comments, genocide, comments about the genocide that is at play, Free Palestine, Gaza, all of these posts and their comments which broke through the kind of bias that was being perpetuated by mainstream Western media. A little later on, we'll also be talking about, of course, the political parties as they gear up for the elections on 8th February, the narratives that are being put forward by the PPP and PML-N in particular, what we can expect from these political parties as the build-up. We saw Bilawal Bhutto Zardari speak today. We also saw a press conference by Rana Sanaullah from the PML-N. Both parties seem to be gearing up in that regard. What can we expect as far as the narratives are concerned from these parties? A little later on, we'll be talking about that. I have with me Naela Chohan, who's a former ambassador. Thank you for being with us today. And we have with us Zamir Awan, who's a foreign affairs expert. Thank you so much for joining us today. A little later on, we'll have other guests to talk about the political situation in the country. Ji, Naila, can you hear me?
Yeah, I can. Can you hear me?
Ji, Naila, there is, like I said, we are looking at the brutality at this time. We are also looking at ineffectiveness of bodies like the UN Security Council, the resolutions being flouted, left, right and center. All of those are realities. Also a reality that I think has surfaced in a new way. It's not something that's not done before. I mean, it has happened from time to time. But in this case, we've seen the Western media and the role that they have played as far as, putting across information which was not accurate, which can only be termed as biased. And then we saw social media content come out and rebut that information. Would you agree with that?
Yes, I do, but this has been happening since World War II. The World War II was won by propaganda. And these media houses, which are now the big media houses in the West, had played an important role in that. So they have continued with it. You know how BBC had been working even at 1971, debacle that we had. So they have been known for bias, but then the hypocrisy is that they talk about freedom of expression and they talk about honest reporting. And you can see in Israel, in Palestine, they have killed so many journalists. Al Jazeera journalist was murdered. So many other journalists have been killed. So they are not willing, in this particular context that we are speaking, they are not willing to accept or let the world know what the situation is. Consequently, they are blocking any truthful information. Even in Pakistan, although our media has been trying to honestly report the situation, you are basically using their terminology. They're talking about Israel-Hamas war, while it's not Israel-Hamas war. It is Israel-Palestine war, where Israel is doing genocide against Palestinians, but they are pretending to say this is Hamas. They haven't touched Hamas. They have killed innocent civilians, women, children, old and young. So this whole narrative building is basically their craft.
Fair enough. Let me go to Zamir Saab. Zamir Saab, do you agree with what Naela Sahiba is saying, that the way that perhaps it's their craft, the way that Western media, mainstream media, has been used in this regard?
I fully endorsed her opinion. As a matter of fact, the media has been used as a tool to achieve their political goals. I can give you one specific example. It was the BBC who broke out in small news that the Iraq has weapon of mass destruction. Then the whole Western media flared up and they propagated this, enhanced it and inflated it. And then finally, the US went to the Security Council and passed a resolution that these weapons of mass destruction are a hazard to the whole humankind. So they attacked the Iraq and they destroyed the Iraq, totally damaged, totally destroyed. And then after the end of the war, the same media asked them, where are the weapons of mass destruction? They were unable to justify it.
And there was no evidence.
There was no evidence. Right. Actually, there was no weapons of mass destruction. It was just a fabricated story to punish Saddam Hussein, because Saddam Hussein was working against the American desires and wishes. He wanted to sell his oil in other currencies instead of the dollars, and he was not becoming their obedient servant. He was not getting dictation from the America and the Western world. So they want to punish him. So they fabricated this story.
Let me go to Naela. I'll come back to you.
And then, in fact, after the war, when they found that this story was wrong, BBC was at mistake, their Prime Minister has resigned under this pressure. So media is a tool.
Naela, there's a as far as the situation now is concerned, we've seen so many people march in solidarity with the Palestinians. We've seen people come out in thousands, in even millions. If we look at the rallies in Washington, London, New York, all of them, they're perhaps unprecedented in the amount of people that have come out in solidarity with the Palestinians. What is your opinion about what the public pressure can do, and what is your opinion of what the situation, in your opinion, can it change? Is it likely to affect the as far as the take of the governments, so to speak, which seems to be different from what their people are wanting and are saying as the truth?
I fully, understand the spirit of this question, and I agree with you, because as you can see in France, Mr. Macron had gone to Israel first and had expressed solidarity. But when mass rallies came out in favor of Palestine, then France changed its position. Even in UN Security Council, then they started supporting the resolution on humanitarian assistance to Palestinians and humanitarian ceasefire. So French position changed. Similarly, even when Biden has been saying that, he fully supports Israel and he, is a Jew himself, he said, therefore he's going to support Israel. But when mass rallies started coming out in United States, they also succumbed to the pressure and said humanitarian ceasefire should take place, although Netanyahu's regime has not really accepted it in spirit and are not really allowing the amount of humanitarian assistance required in Palestine right now.
Fair enough. Zamir Saab, as far as we've seen the Israeli president, the way that this camouflage, this inability to see things for what they are at this time, and inability to budge, and of course its closest ally, the US, being that situation. Is it in your opinion going to change at any time? Is it maybe changing?
Definitely it will change. But what is the irony that Israel is getting time, gaining more time and harming more and more Palestinian people. Once they have damaged or total damage, of course there will be an end to all these hostilities.
But it's been a long time that the Palestinians...
It is more than 1 month.
No, but even before October 7th, there was, the war has been going on for so many decades.
Years.
Yes.
Yes.
So for the Palestinian people, when are we going to see any relief?
I think that the public opinion, even in the Western world, is changed now. The governments in the Western countries, they might support American resolutions or they side with Israel, but the public opinion is different. And they are the politicians. They have to go to the election. Next year is the election year in the United States of America, and the presidential election will decide. I mean, the public
but
opinion.
But don't you think the public opinion is now going
it will.
you know, it's going the other way as far as the Biden administration is concerned?
Yes, yes, the public opinion is quite different. And there is a lot of pressure on the governments in Western world, especially in the Biden administration, a lot of pressure.
Naela, do you think that that pressure will change things? You know, with the elections coming up next year and the Biden administration, you know, realizing that this can prove to be, you know, a big issue for them, the way that we've seen people come out?
You're right, Mahrukh. The thing is that earlier on, Biden was blatantly supporting Israel because he thought that was an important lobby in USA and that Israeli vote bank was important for him. But then when massive rallies started coming out in favor of Palestine, he came under pressure and his popularity voting rating went down by 11 points. So now he's in a very desperate situation, and they started talking about humanitarian assistance. So they did amend their position, but have they really amended their politics vis-a-vis Palestine has to be seen, because even their representative in New York, you know, while justifying their support, did understand that humanitarian assistance is important. Our permanent representative in New York, Mr. Munir Akram, was very articulate in highlighting the plight of the Palestinians. So at international level and at national level, these governments are now coming under pressure, and they cannot blatantly support Israel as they were doing earlier on. And as you had mentioned earlier on, social media vis-a-vis the conventional media, and social media, interestingly enough, became more powerful, although Israelis also tried to use their, you know, social media, but they could not beat the truth. And
but
that's
Naila,
why
you know,
they are
Munir
now
Akram has
offensive.
said that, you know, that we need to urgently come to some sort of mechanism to deal with, you know, to go towards a ceasefire. What kind of modalities, you know, can you expect, and how do we get there?
Well, you see, you have to see the two perspectives. As far as Israel is concerned, it seems that they are not willing to stop till they have full control of Gaza. And they're trying to push all the Palestinians out of Gaza into Sinai Desert and make them refugees in Sinai under Egyptian control, which Egypt doesn't have the capacity to deal with. And a lot of countries have now started boycotting the Israeli embassies in their respective countries to highlight and to emphasize their position against Israeli genocide. It was very interesting. The other day I was watching the social media, and there was one Palestinian standing with a placard saying, "You may kill all Palestinians, but there will be one Moses." So like the Pharaoh did that to Hazrat Musa at the time, now the same people who claim to be victims are now worse than the Pharaoh. So all these images are not to be taken lightly, and these governments are now under serious pressure.
Right. Let me go to Zamir Sahab. Zamir Sahab, the same question to you. What mechanism can there be, in your opinion, when Munir Akram talks about this? There has to be. He's saying that, you know, we have to work towards some kind of a mechanism to get there. You know, to get to a ceasefire, because we are looking at deaths every day.
The resolution was submitted to the United Nations Security Council. There were complete consensus for immediate ceasefire, but US has
Vetoed that.
it.
Yes.
I mean, is helpless.
So
Security Council is helpless. I mean, we have to convince USA that not to veto. I think it is a humanitarian issue. It is the precious human life, and genocide is going on. The American administration have to think about it, and there are also responsible people, and there are in America there are a lot of people. They understand the situation. They are exerting pressure on the administration. I believe it is going to happen soon, the ceasefire, because as long as Israel is getting single minute or single second, they don't spare it, and they kill more and more Palestinians.
right, fair enough. Gee, Naela, there is, you know, the restrictions on freedom of expression that we are looking at. That's also an issue, and it's been an issue in other parts of the world, if you recall. You know, as far as Kashmir is concerned, for example. Overall, those kind of restrictions, I think the social media has managed to break free of. In this case, when we look at the situation, you know, rebutting the false narrative of the main media. Now, overall, do you think, you know, there is likely to be, you know, some action by, for example, the UN Security Council? Not that it's effective at all. I mean, we've seen the effectiveness there.
Mahrukh, here we have to look at UN in its context. As you can see, and you have said it yourself, that UN Security Council has not been effective. And this isn't the first time they were not effective. They have not been effective in Kashmir also.
Yes.
They have not been effective in several issues since its establishment in 1945 in San Francisco. So now Pakistan is one of the leading countries calling for reforms, which is called United for Consensus, UFC. So all the like-minded countries are saying that, you know, countries like India, who are violators of UN Security Council resolutions, cannot claim to be permanent members of UNSC. The enlargement should not be on veto rights. Basically, enlargement should be that the non-permanent members of UN Security Council, which are 15, their term should be increased, and that it should be more democratic and more representative. And these reforms, I mean, in Munir Akram's speech also, you must have heard, like many other countries, there are many, many countries who support Pakistan's position on this, that UN Security Council, if it continues to fail to fulfill its mandate that was given to it because of the veto power, then we have to review veto power. Then we have to make United Nations a more democratic body where people or the member countries should be
Naila,
elected.
even if we leave the United Nations, for example, aside, what about the ICJ? What about the role of ICJ and war crimes, and how, you know, those are actionable, are they not?
They are, and you might have noted that the head of South Africa said that Israel should be taken to ICJ or to war crime tribunal for the war crimes they are committing. This is the first time, Mahrukh, that countries have started speaking against Israel and calling it apartheid, calling it war crime, and calling it genocide. These terms had never been, the West had not allowed these terms to be used at the UN against Israel. So this is the first time that countries have become more articulate against Israel. So this itself is a good indicator from our perspective and warning sign to those countries which have been manipulating UN Security Council and UN other agencies for their political agendas rather than serving humanity, which was the main mandate of UN, United Nations.
Zamir sir, what about, in your opinion, the role of the ICJ? Of course.
I think that there is a new development.
Okay.
I think there are 5 countries or more. They have already approached the International Court of Justice,
Yes.
and Bangladesh is one of them. And I believe that they have demanded for proper investigation and trial for the war crimes. And responsible people for this war crime should be trialed and hanged.
Do you think it's maybe a gateway? If this does go through, it would be mean a gateway for other nations that are suffering so much?
It will be the first step, and there are many other cases of war crime.
Yes.
If you go to the Afghan war, Syria war,
what's happening
Iraq
in Kashmir
also.
Of course.
So it is just beginning. Once ICJ has accepted such cases, they will be open for many other countries.
Right. Fair enough. Unfortunately, that's all the time that we have for this segment. Thank you so much for joining us. Naela Chohan, thank you for your very valuable input on this very important topic. Zamir Saab, thank you so much for being with us today. We'll be taking a short break, after which we'll come back to talk about what's happening as far as the political parties' narrative building is concerned as they gear up for the elections on February 8th. Please stay with us. Assalamu alaikum and welcome to Perspective. Welcome back. We'll be talking about the war of narratives between the major political parties. We've seen what the PPP is saying. We saw Bilawal Bhutto Zardari speak today. He talked about giving up politics of division, hate, and instead talking about a politics which is going to be inclusive, so to speak. But at the same time, he says he does not need anybody's alliance. And believes that PPP's performance far surpasses other political parties. Let's discuss what the PPP is saying versus the PML-N and what they've also said about vote ko izzat do and how they, as far as that narrative is concerned, according to the PPP, it itself is faulty. We're going to be asking Rafique Rajwana, who's a former governor of Punjab. Thank you so much for being with us from the PML-N, and Zulfikar Ali Bader, who's a spokesman, Bilawal Bhutto Zardari. Thank you for joining us. Ji, Rajwana Saab, can you hear me?
Yes, I'm hearing.
Rajwana Sahab, there is, I don't know if you heard what Bilawal Bhutto Zardari said, but this issue that, there is with vote ko izzat, which seems to be, of course, which is very important as far as the PML-N is concerned. How would you respond to this?
Vote ko izzat do is a good slogan. Nothing bad in it. Rather, we should respect our voter.
Right, but as far as the PPP is concerned and Bilawal Bhutto Zardari is concerned, he's saying one, that he doesn't need anybody's alliances and only performance should dictate what the voter has to decide. Whereas, what is the PML-N's take on this?
When we talk about the performance, let's cherish the good memories, very pleasant memories when Bilawal Bhutto had made a speech in the parliament appreciating Mianam Shahbaz Sharif and his speed, and he invited him that he should join the Pakistan People's Party. I think that let's not forget that, and I've started the word, let's cherish our good memories. The political parties have to behave in a manner that it should not be inimical, it should not be a fight, but it should be a game. All the political parties have to run, and the best one has to be on the victory stand, and the other on the second number, or the other on the third number. So let's have a congenial atmosphere and cordial relations in between us, as they had been running the PDM government for 14 months. There was nothing wrong at that time, and what is wrong now? It's a political slogan, and they are afraid of our strength in Punjab. Anyhow, it's a game, and
no, but Rajwana Sahab, right, that it is a slogan, it's a political slogan, but isn't there a whole ideology behind this slogan?
No ideology.
Which the PML...
No ideology.
No ideology.
Whose ideology? Sorry. Just
your own, your party's ideology.
Yes, it is. It is. Vote ko izzat do. It is ideology of Pakistan PML-N. It's an ideology.
Do you still stand by that ideology? Does the PML-N still stand by it?
We stand. Why not? Why not? Nobody can deny, even no political party can deny that vote ko izzat do. Because of the casting of vote, somebody is elected because of casting of vote, right of vote. The people have adult franchise right. Because of that, the governments are formed. And if I'm holding some office as elected representative of the people, that respect and honor is because of that vote which the people have cast in my favor. So there's nothing wrong in this slogan. It's not the case that we have raised this slogan. If we talk that this slogan, what is the demerit in this?
But Rajwana Sahab, there are also, when you talk about this level playing field allegations that are being sprouted, then that is contrary to this. Doesn't it go in a contrary to this?
The level playing field, I tell you, whether the elections have been held, whether there is some rigging in the election, whether there is something foul play so far taken or done to favor PML-N. What they are talking about the level playing field, do they want the level playing field which was in 2018 election? Do they want this? What do they want? They are not happy that why Mian Nawaz Sharif has come back. Even Asif Zardari Sahab was saying during that time that Mian Sahab should come back. If he has come back, if he has surrendered before the court, if some relief has been given according to the law, that doesn't mean that level playing field has been disturbed. Level playing field, if somebody wants a level playing field should have been that Mian Sahab should have been, God forbid, in jail, and then it should have been a level playing field. I differ with them.
But Rajwana Sahab, as far as your electoral strategy is concerned, the PML-N's electoral strategy, what is your mandate going to be built upon? Is it going to be, of course, we are seeing a lot of electables also joining. We saw what happened in Balochistan also.
Today I had a very detailed meeting with one-on-one meeting with Mian Shahbaz Sharif Sahab in Lahore at his residence. The political parties have to struggle. The political parties have to make alliances. The political parties have to create the possibilities to form the governments. Okay? If we have gone to Balochistan, we have tried, and it's a good result from Balochistan that the people are joining Pakistan Pakistan Muslim League N. There is nothing wrong with it. And as far as the electoral strategy is concerned, we are not so mad after the electables. No, not at all. Wherever we have some difficulty, where we have some weak candidate in our party, suppose at some places, so electable is not a bad thing. Electable means that the person who is more popular amongst the people apart from the party vote. Then we have to consider his name. If he is ready to work with us, he is ready to come to us, then we can opt for him. And electable is the level of popularity.
No, but
Yes.
isn't it true that the phenomena of electables and how, you know, they're standing by a political party or choosing to go another way, that has, you know, historically been problematic as far as these electables are concerned. Isn't that true?
It may be to some extent correct that the electables may not change the parties whenever they feel like, but I think that better sense must prevail amongst the electables also. I can precisely say this.
You think the option should be available to them?
I think that the sanity should prevail amongst them.
Okay, fair enough. Thank you so much for your very valuable
My pleasure.
input.
My-
I know that you're busy. Thank you for joining us. I'm going to go to Zulfikar Ali Bader. Ji, Zulfikar Sahab, I hope you heard what Rajwana Sahab said, you know, today, as far as electables are concerned, as far as vote ko izzat do is concerned, as far as having, you know, joinings that we are seeing at this time also. As far as the PPP is concerned, what's your take on this? We saw, of course, Bilawal Bhutto Zardari speak today. Is it a politics of ideologies that he's perpetuating? What is it?
Bismillah ar-Rahman ar-Rahim. Thank you very much, Mahrukh, for inviting me to your show. Mr. Bilawal Bhutto Zardari is very much clear about what he has been talking about. People's Party and our leadership believes in the ideology of People's Party and the philosophy which have been given to us by Mr. Zulfikar Ali Bhutto and Shaheed Mohtarma Benazir Bhutto. And we are the followers of the same philosophy, ideology, and our slogan is the same. What he has been raising point that when it comes to the electables, he has been asking. I mean, we don't have any dispute that any political parties are going to go into any wedlock or going into any alliances. We have no problem with that in any province. Even Mr. Bilawal Bhutto Zardari has said Mia Nawaz Sharif Saab would have gone to Balochistan earlier. He is late, and we have welcomed Mia Nawaz Sharif Saab while coming back to Pakistan. Mr. Asif Ali Zardari have said many times that Mia Saab shouldn't have left Pakistan. In fact, he should have been in Pakistan. And if they'll come to Sindh, Mr. Bilawal Bhutto Zardari said, we will welcome them. And we have no problem that if they are going into any political alliance with any local party in Karachi or any other party in Sindh, we have no issues. We will welcome him because it's the democratic and constitutional right of the political parties, whosoever they want to alliance with. We should not raise any point, or we have no dispute over that. Coming back to the point what Mr. Bilawal Bhutto Zardari has been saying, that the main battlefield is Punjab. They should focus more on Punjab because the position in Punjab is very bad, because it seems the perception which is coming from the grassroots in the last few months as when there was a PDM government, though we were part of the PDM government, but the things have gone out of control, and
But
now
Badr Sahab,
every
when you
person
say
who
that,
is giving.
let me interject, sorry, but as you know, when you say that you were a part of the PDM government, you think the fallout is only for the PML-N and not for the PPP?
I don't say that. I said we were part of the PDM government, and the political damage has been caused to us as well.
Okay, fair enough.
Whatever it has caused to other parties, it has caused to us as well, and we are facing the music, and we are, going through whatever damage has been done to us in that particular time period. Because there was a dilemma, there was a question of saving either the state of Pakistan and the people of Pakistan or our political parties. So we sacrificed on our political parties and our politics, and we saved the state of Pakistan. So coming back to the point, the perception coming from the grassroots in Punjab is like very difficult because the PML-N, the perception or the narrative which is being built is not the ground reality. That is the reason they have been asking that Mia Nawaz Sharif should come back and lead the party and lead the election campaign. Otherwise,
But Badr Sahab,
PMLN would have
this,
PMLN would
ji.
have wiped out if Mia Saab would have not come back
So you
and
think that Mia Saab's
led
return,
the campaign.
so you think that Mia Saab's return has revitalized the party? It has given them that extra, that extra energy within, and infused it with their voters to actually, give them a chance as far as Punjab is concerned?
In my personal opinion, it has given a light or little hope to the people within their party, but not to the voters, because voters are still not happy with the performance of the PDM government and especially the PMLN. And it is going to be very difficult for Mia Nawaz Sharif Saab to run the campaign and get whatever results they have been anticipating. So it's not going to be an easy political campaign. Things are very difficult and things are very challenging. It seems like the perception which have been taking place in the media and on social media, that's not the ground reality. The ground
Let me go
reality
to
is going
Zaid
to be
Saab.
different.
We
And
have
Mr.
with us
Bilawal
Zaid.
Bhutto Zardari has been, and one thing, Mr. Bilawal Bhutto Zardari has been asking the PMLN that where that slogan has gone of vote ko izzat do, because they have been asking and they've been said vote ko give respect to the voters. Vote ko
But they are
izzat do,
fully
and where
standing by it. They are saying they're fully standing by it, and there's nothing wrong with that slogan.
I am sure they must stand by with that, but they have never even said anything like that because things have changed because they want to take step on the horse, which is taking them for the ruling class, like in the
Let
past
me
they
on
have
that
done.
note, Zulfikar Saab, I'll come back to you. We have with us Zaid Gishkori Saab, who's a senior journalist. Zaid Saab, can you hear me?
Yes, Mahrukh.
Zaid Saab, I hope you were listening to what Badr Saab was saying, and we had Rafique Rajwana Saab earlier also. In your opinion, there is, do you think it's about vote ko izzat do, or the perception or the fallout of the PDM government and its effect, which is what Badr Saab was talking about, is a fallout that's going to be for all political parties, PPP and PML-N. Do you agree with that?
This is very tricky. Look, Mahrukh, I think the situation demanded at that time that, as you know, Nawaz Sharif also made it clear yesterday that it was quickly possible for PDM government to take over after PTI also, that because the economy needed a strong and stable elected government, and they perhaps long for a little longer, but now at least it's an opportunity to any political party to come with a strong mandate to get rid of the challenges the state of Pakistan is facing now. But overall, I could not listen to the debate, but I don't know that what the exact debate was going on in your program. But the situation in response to your question is clear that PGM government, and there were many questions arises by the critic as well, that why this government was not taking strong decision, as you know, it was a cluster of more than 12 political parties who continue to rule the
No,
state.
but the situation in Punjab, Zaid Saab, can you hear me? The situation in Punjab itself, as far as the BPP PML-N is concerned, of course, the PML-N, it's been a foothold of the PML-N. So, of course, in that way, they perhaps, stand to lose more than the PPP.
If you're asking about the current situation in Punjab, where do the political parties stand? The figures so far I collected in the past 1 week as a journalist, that it has been a history of Pakistan political arena that any party which got maximum seats from three divisions of the Punjab, like Multan, Bahawalpur, and Dera Ghazi Khan. This party has been forming the government. And it looks like at this stage of time, as you know, Pakistan Muslim League Nawaz have already 13 seats in the parliament in the previous 2018 election. And now 24 former members National Assembly have left PTI. It was very interesting that which political party was in a good position to fill this political vacuum created after 9th May, or created after more than 24 member National Assembly left PTI. It looks like at this stage of time that Pakistan People's Party could not establish the momentum and mobilize the people in South as compared to PML-N. You know, around 7 former PTI MNAs joined PML-N, and PML-N was also with a second position in this South Punjab region. So IPP is another party. Two parties getting momentum at this stage when we are talking. One is the IPP. IPP perhaps would not be able to get favor from member National Assembly, former member National Assembly, but obviously the party would be grabbing more MPs, former MPs from South Punjab. So it's a little edge at this stage of time to PML-N to get more electables from South Punjab. You know, already the party got a big boost from Balochistan and Karachi, you know, with support of MQM. And
you
yes,
expect
course,
Zaid Saab for more joinings in the south?
Obviously, but this time it looks like at this stage of time, Mahrukh, that 48 member National Assembly belong to South Punjab, but mostly still they have not made their mind at which party they would be joining. Obviously, it's a chance this time that you would see maximum independent electable from South Punjab, which might be seizing the moment to join the party which might be able to establish a government in the center. And it has been a tendency in South that people at the last moment, electables, particularly the heavyweights, join the either they join the party perhaps a month before the election, or soon after winning the election they join the party. So it looks like that real battleground, political ground, is in the South in the coming 2 weeks. And you know, Khyber Pakhtunkhwa is also very interesting.
Yes, that's. Let me. Unfortunately, we have limited time. Thank you so much. I'm going to go to Zulfikar Saab on this. Zulfikar Saab, if you heard what Zaid Saab is saying, he's saying that, you know, it seems that the PPP has not been able to perhaps, you know, get into, you know, significantly get the kind of inroads they would have liked in South, and they expect perhaps the PML-N to do so. What's your take on this?
Actually, the situation is not clear. In the people have different perception from the past government, and they don't know the ground reality. People's Party have worked a lot in the South Punjab, and People's Party is going to get more seats in South Punjab, which people will get surprised. And even in Central Punjab, People's Party will be getting more seats, and on those particular seats where we have lost with a very narrow margin of 1,000 or less votes, so that they all those candidates are going to make a difference and create an impact in the politics of Punjab. So People's Party is very hopeful, and we will be aiming and we will be focusing more. Our leadership, Mr. Bilawal Bhutto Zardari, and the daughter of Shaheed Bibi, Asfa Bhutto Zardari Sahiba, will be leading the campaign in Punjab, and they will be focusing to bring out the people and do the mobilization in Punjab and get as many seats as they can. So right now, if we forecast or anticipate any kind of numbers that that particular party is going to get this many seats, we can't rule out, because this is going to be the last week of the election campaign is going to decide how many seats are going to be won by which party. So
fair
it's
enough.
going
Thank
to
you
be a
so
very
much,
challenging
Zulfikar
and
Saab.
interesting election.
Fair enough. Thank you so much. I think we can all agree to that. Thank you so much for joining us. Thank you for your very valuable input. Rafique Rajwana Saab, Zulfikar Ali Bader Saab, Zahid Gishkori Saab. Of course, as we get closer to the elections, we will know, where things are as far as Punjab is concerned, particularly the south of Punjab also, which according to most people seems to be might be the focus of the attention for all political parties, whether it's the PML-N or the PPP, significantly, and how they can, perhaps get electables or get the kind of candidates they feel can get them the seats. And as Rajwana Saab also said, it's about getting the seats for political parties. It is politics, and there is no other way of looking at it. Of course, it's also a politics of ideology, which is going to be, and the numbers that are going to be, that are going to base the agenda of reform, which is also something that we've been talking about for a while, whether we talk about reform in the legal side, reform on the economic front, all of those social reform, all of those reforms clearly remain on the agenda for all political parties. So at this time, of course, numbers certainly do matter. Let's see closer to the elections what the build-up is and where the political agenda falls. Thank you so much for joining us today on Perspective.